Welcome back. This time we are back into cyclocross. I haven't really raced cyclocross seriously since 2019, so this was going to be a fun race. I got two races in last year, but nothing since then. This is the scouting lap that I did in between races before my race. We just went by the pit. I just started right there, got on the course. Definitely a bit of sand on this course. This would be part of the prologue or the end of the lap, depending on how you look at it. And this brings you to the or the finish, I should say. Once we get through this little area here, we start into some of the more mountain bikey thing. Lots of rocks strewn about. My pre-lap was done with sunglasses, and in these sections I really couldn't see anything with the sunglasses on. So during the race, I took them off. And definitely a lot of technical bits through here. As I said, a lot of rocks, so trying to figure out the lines and to get through without causing yourself more difficulties was a little bit of a challenge. Climbing up these things in the end really wasn't that bad, but it definitely was a workout in the legs, especially if you're not used to it. This brings you up to the upper section, the more grassy, more cyclocross-like section, and still a little bit of climbing. During the race, your legs are pretty gassed at this point. And dropping down through here, and then we're climbing up to the switchback section that brings you to the barriers. Again, I'm just scouting the lap, trying to figure out what would be a good place to make your turns and everything else. Definitely some tight switchbacks that caught me by surprise a few times as you kind of trying to remember the course. And definitely nice flowy some other places. You think, oh, next turn I'm at the barriers, but no, they have a couple more zigzags to go through, tight, short ones. So, and I actually got myself caught up a few times in the race through here. And then the barriers, I still do not hop the barriers. I like my front teeth, and I will run them. And at this point, we're almost out of this grassy section, and it dumps us back into the wooded bit. That's the sort of the back section of this course. My teammate Matthew is ahead of me, and we come back through this little bit. And again, with the sunglasses, I was struggling in the shady sections to see where I was going. I don't like to race without glasses, but I felt it was safer for me to actually see the trails. The camera really brightens it up more than it is. This was a tiny little steep little climb, but overall the race that really didn't pose too much of a problem. And then it drops you back right into the trail section. I'd like to say this almost had like two parts to it. This here, and then the post wood chip section, which we're about to get to. So we drop down. This is the wood chips, which really wasn't that bad. I ended up having to walk this one because my teammate got out in front of me and blocked my way, so I couldn't get up. But during the race, I was able to race this without a problem. And they had plenty of space up here to get back on. But as I said, I didn't have to get off during the race for this. And then it drops you back down. And then we start in the last section of the woods, right as we come in through here. I guess this is the backside of the lake. And this section through here really wasn't too bad. Still a lot of rocks, but it wasn't crazy. And unfortunately, I was only able to get this little run-up thing here once. I always ended up having a problem with it. I don't know why. I think I just ended up putting my wheel in the wrong spot or whatever. And by the last few laps, I was so shelled anyway that it didn't matter. Here I ended up just walking the bike up to where it was a little flatter to get back on, and then I got going again. After this little section, which is again full of rocks and roots, it drops you back down to the lake, and that was kind of a fun section. In previous years, I vowed never to come back because the sand, we had to do it in reverse order, and I ended up breaking spokes and everything else, and I vowed never to come back. But the course in this direction is definitely a lot more manageable. And at this point, we're starting to pick up speed because we're heading down the hill. You still have to kind of avoid these rocks and stuff and trying to figure out where you want to put your wheel. And you don't have too much time to figure that out. And my goal was to hit the sand safely. So I would tap my brakes, and then as you can see right here, there's this gravel section, and just here you just send it, and you just hit the sand. The momentum carries you right through this section. A little bit of pedaling here, it gets nice and packed, so you can just ride it without a problem. And so this is the second part I would call the sand pit. And coming out over here, it starts getting boggy, but you just can find a rut, and you can get in it, and you can pretty much power your way through it. So I was able to go through the sand without any problems for my last lap, when a guy in front of me just stopped in front of me and I had nowhere to go. So, but other than that, the sand was actually almost the most fun part of the course. This is the kind of start is just below on the right. You start down there and head up into the section that's not on video. I did get to ride it before the race, but it just I didn't video that section, and it's a whole bunch of switchbacks up and down the hill on the grass. A little fatiguing in the legs because you're doing the climbing, but nothing terrible. So I think around this point, when I go through this section, I realize up ahead you can see there's a race going on. So I was like, oh, I'm on course, I shouldn't be here. And so I'm looking for a place to pull out, and I see my teammates, so I asked them if it's there's a race that, yeah. So here's Eloy, not Eloy, one of the other teammates racing, and Eloy is actually behind him, a couple riders behind him. Here he comes. I decided to get some footage of everyone else racing in their respective categories. And the next up is Matt in the last race of the day, doing his Cat 5 race, and I got a bunch of videos of him. We just decided to park ourselves around the course a little bit to get a couple different spots. It was a hot day. He had his shirt open. I had mine open too. So it was really hot. And here's the sand viewed from the other perspective. Still, I felt the sand was a lot more enjoyable. And there's this other little sand section here, which you saw at the beginning of the video, which really never even posed a problem for me. Yeah, he's got 3 laps to go, I think, at this point. When I saw 2 laps ago, I really was blown, and I just couldn't deal. This is my cousin. He took some videos when he showed up, and so he got a couple of videos. Not the best quality, but hey, still videos. This is the upper section by the barriers. I was about to go into that, and you get to view me screw up a couple times. There's me on the left, about to make the last couple switchbacks before the barriers. And you can see I just didn't quite get that dialed in. I think at this point I was pretty blown, and I really just wanted to finish the race at this point. There was a section of the course where the tape was broken, and I went through, and I ended up off course, and the guys that I was racing with, I was hoping to keep behind me, got in front of me, and I just lost my just mojo, I guess, if you want to call it that. And so I kind of just, at this point, I was just done. I think I even say,
I know. Yeah, keep going.
I'm blown. First race of the season, and as I said, I haven't really raced since 2019, so I'm not really in CrossFit shape by any means. But hopefully by the end of the season, I'll be better. My cousin didn't move too much from here, from his spot, so he got me in a couple different times coming around. He's also injured, so he probably didn't want to move around too much. He got shoulder surgery. And this is where you're going to see me go splat, as I call it. I just made a stupid mistake, and there you go, splat, right down. A little annoyed at that, but as I said, it is what it is. Happens in cross. Didn't really get hurt. A little sore here and there, but nothing too crazy. And pretty much that summarizes the day. Hopefully, in a few weeks, I'll be back at it again. I'm going to be away next week, so I can't race. So that's Bubblecross.
Great job, Andrew.